Greetings and welcome to Jefficho Films. Now I think it's about time we review some Game of Thrones, so let's go beyond the wall. This is one of those Jon Snow episodes I always look forward to, where everything that isn't about Jon I don't care about, and then everything that is, it's pretty awesome. I mean, going all the way back to Season 4, Watchers on the Wall, the Battle of the Wildwings, that's where Jon really started to step up. Not only was that a wicked battle sequence, but it was also heartfelt because Jon lost his love. In Season 5 Hardhome, Jon vs. the Evil Dead was pretty freaking amazing. Everybody remembers that moment. Now last season we got Battle of the Bastards, which was probably one of the best war sequences you'll ever see on TV, let alone maybe in a movie. I mean, watching Jon Snow charge an entire army to avenge his brother, I mean, he just continues to build his legend. I've been a fan of Jon since Season 1. And now we've got Season 7's Beyond the Wall. Now, let's start out with a few of the negatives I've got for this episode. Everything that didn't involve Jon Snow, let's be honest. Arya and Sansa was kind of annoying, and Arya's a little psychopath. I mean, who keeps faces in their bag? That's messed up. I mean, at times I thought I was watching an episode of Mean Girls. I mean, these sisters are twisting their stories around, not getting along. It's a bit ridiculous. Can we please go back to the action? Then you've got that scene with Dany and Tyrion where it seems like they're rebuilding their relationship and she's going on about how she likes him and he starts telling her the truth and she doesn't want to hear it and it's right back to square one. It seemed like a waste of time. Let's get back to the action. The banter between these characters north of the wall was hilarious. I mean, if we weren't getting good laughs, we were getting background stories, relationships building. I mean, Jorah and Jon are clearly becoming friends. And then Tormund telling Jon about Mance and how he was too prideful to bend his knee, that was a good lesson for Jon to learn. I really enjoyed the conversation where it's like, oh, you don't look like your father and you and I won't find much joy in this life. It's kind of dark and depressing, but is it even true? I mean, Jon's gonna find happiness and then die. I thought it was funny how they had like 7 guys in the trailer and they're like heading out, but it's actually 12 because you know they had to have some red shirts in there, people that were just designated to die. And they know where they were going, so why didn't they bring more dragon glass? It seemed like there was a lot of sword hitting swings to the dead, but didn't finish them. But everybody that had dragon glass, like Jorah, he had the 2 dragon glass daggers. He was killing them in one blow, and Jon was killing them in one blow, but, you know, the fire sword guys were just lighting them on fire. But how cool were the fire sword guys? I mean, flame on, that was amazing. I want to see that done more often. I'm not sure they'll be around enough to do it, but that'd be cool. The Hound was being his typical self. I imagine he's going to miss playing this character when it's all over. I mean, throwing the rocks was like the dumbest thing he could have done. But then again, the dead thinking that the rocks was stable enough for them to walk on the ice. I mean, what does a rock weigh, guys? But, I mean, they're the dead. What do they know? When the dead started charging, the strings and the music start to remind me of Clash of the Titans, which had some really great battle music, and so did this. Those cruel bastards teased us with Tormund's death. I was like, don't kill my ginger beard. He's hilarious and Jon can't afford to lose any more friends. This is some of the best zombie work I've seen. The battle looked exhausting, but I only have one question. Can they swim? Because a couple of them went under the water and came back up and grabbed Tormund's leg, and then the ones that went under the water later with Jon, I mean, they let go and he just came up and they couldn't swim? I mean, it seemed a bit inconsistent there for that. Per typical in the battle, I mean, Jon was having his little moment once the music started to hit. He started to get a bit reflective, and then Dany shows up and it's so epic. And then we see the Night's King and it's just like, I kind of like the old Night's King better. Maybe I just don't like change. I don't know. I thought the old guy looked a little more intimidating. I still like the Darth Maul like look to the character. Then there's that bullshit the Night's King pulls when he pulls out the ice spear and he kills a dragon. I mean, that was sad. And everybody's reaction just, it made you feel bad for them. And the CGI was amazing. The fact that it sunk under the water slowly, I mean, like that was heartbreaking to see. And then typical selfish Jon telling him to get the hell out of there as he sees the Night King is pulling another ice spear out to kill their dragon. I mean, and then he goes to kill the dead, gets pulled under, they leave. Like the whole sequence, this entire sequence was amazing. And then, you know, Jon climbs out and we get to see Benjen again. I love that they're not forgetting about these characters. It seems like they are when you go seasons without seeing them. But then Benjen comes back on his horse, kicking ass. That's a great way for him to go out. I wonder if we're going to see some other characters like that we once saw before. I mean, I'm already kind of missing a little Melisandre. I know she'll probably pop back in, but will we ever see Daharius again? Or is he just going to stay in Marine and we'll never revisit that? I always wondered if he was part of the Golden Harpies or not. Like, you never know. We're all back on the wall and Jorah's like, we should probably get going. Dan's like, oh, let's wait a bit longer. And then she decides she's going to go and Jorah's like, ooh, who's that rider? Of course it's Jon. You can't stop Jon Snow. A little bit later, she watches him sleep, which, you know, is a little bit creepy, but then she's all like, oh, I'll join you and we'll kill this guy. Once I've seen it, I believe it. And Jon's just like, oh, I'll bend the knee. Jon, she doesn't have red hair, and she's kind of related to you, so, I mean, this is getting weird. And the episode finishes off with that poor dragon getting just pulled out of the water and resurrected by the Night's King. I wonder if it will breathe ice, if it will just freeze people instead of fire. That'd be a cool difference. You know, I'm still waiting for my ice spiders. I want to see those. That would be creepy as hell. Maybe that's something we'll see in a spin-off. I mean, there's 4 series in development and they're all set to be prequels. So it's all going to take place before. So whether it's going to be 100 years, 1,000 years. I mean, George has been writing little stories and there's a lot of little history hints here and there. I mean, this is going to be his biggest moneymaker. I know they're working on that Night Flyer series and he's got some cowboy futuristic one too, but I mean, George would probably just help out the producers that are making these new films or new Game of Thrones spin-offs because that's where his money's going to be made. So we got a week before the end of the season. The last episode's coming up. I might be mistaken, but I heard it's going to be 2 hours and something big usually happens. Obviously, Cersei's going to pull some bullshit and it's really going to affect everything else. But I don't think it's going to top this episode. For me, the Jon Snow episodes of each season are always the best. It might be the fact that I do love swords. Watching Jon Snow, who actually practices a lot to make his form look good, to make it seem like he's actually, you know, handling it well. And there's a lot of shows you watch where it's just like the fight scenes just aren't as good. Even in Game of Thrones, there's certain people you can tell are just picking it up and just kind of been taught a little bit. But when you watch Jon fight with a sword, he's doing it properly. In the end, I've loved these episodes, these big battles. You know they're spending a lot of the budget on it. You know they're taking their time. They care about it. The research that they put into the Battle of the Bastards was amazing. I mean, just the war tactics and everything, what happens. Like, these guys are doing their homework, and we're getting some of the most, like, fantasy yet historically accurate stuff at times, just with the way that they're doing it. Like, I'm just glad that they're going to do another series when this all ends, because they don't make enough medieval movies anymore. And at least this series brings you into this world, it develops it. It's very Lord of the Rings-esque, where, like, you know, they took so much time in each one of those movies, they were so long, that it was just like, here's this immersed world that you could be in. And that's what Game of Thrones is. And as always, thanks for watching.